I don't think the Sultan of Johor would have said the things that he said in the Straits Times interview, which was about a month later. So that's me reading between the tea leaves and getting a sense of what...
Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to our show, and today we have our regular guest, soon to be regular I believe.
I'm looking forward to it. Hope it can be a regular segment, and I just want to emphasize that I am not Datuk Botak. I am okay man, Ong Kian Ming. You can call me Dr. Ong, you can call me Kian Ming. You know, we're good to go. We're good to go. Thanks for having me back, Peter.
Alright, thank you very much for coming once again. And at such a short notice this time round. I think it was Monday. And suddenly I was just reading the news and it says that confirm Cabinet is going to reshuffle.
Yes.
It's like, whoa, it just caught everyone by surprise suddenly.
Yes. So I was in Taiwan and on a holiday doing a bit of work and also, relaxing a bit with my wife. And then that was when I started hearing the rumors and I checked with a few people and then I realized that, okay, this is going to be on. So it actually caught me by surprise, but maybe not for the same reasons as the larger public. Because for me, I was always under the assumption that since the Sultan of Johor is going to be the next king and he's going to be sworn in at the end of January, I would have thought that Anwar would have wanted to wait until the Sultan of Johor was sworn in as Agong first and then would present a list so that this can be a cabinet that has been endorsed by him. So the fact that Anwar chose to name the cabinet now, this week, 1.5 months before the coronation or the swearing in of the Agong, I think it caught me by surprise and I think we'll have some interesting consequences later on.
I would definitely have never relate Agong swearing in and the reshuffling of cabinet, right? Yeah, so why is it so significant actually?
It may or may not be significant. We'll have to see the results, after Sultan of Johor is sworn in. But if you look at the messaging that was going out, I think the first shot was fired when TMJ appeared on Khairi's podcast.
That's right.
Keluar Sekejap.
Yeah.
So that got, almost 2 million views just on the YouTube channel alone. A lot of media coverage. And I think, there were already signals being sent out by TMJ to say that when the Sultan of Johor becomes Agong, it would not be an easy time for Prime Minister Anwar because of certain expectations and also certain high hopes that the Sultan and later on Agong will have in the Anwar's administration.
Yeah, in fact, very soon after that, when our Sultan of Johor actually did an interview with Straits Times, he actually straight away mentioned that he wants MSCC and Petronas to report directly to him, a system to be set up. And I was shocked at that statement because traditionally, royals are not supposed to be meddled with governance stuff, right? I have to say I'm kind of semi-happy as well at the same time because it kind of induces somewhat of a check and balance or at least some sort of a pressure. But going back to that thing, when you were saying that, you actually were shocked because
I was a bit surprised.
You were a little bit surprised that he actually did the cabinet reshuffling before the coronation of the new
and I think maybe the main reason, I'm speculating here, that perhaps Anwar wanted to put in his own cabinet list without any inputs or perhaps any changes that the Sultan may have proposed when he becomes Agong, if let's say the cabinet reshuffle happened that time. So that would, I think, be the most likely possibility.
Right. Yeah. So there is this, I guess to a certain extent, some people can kind of interpret it as like, I'm going to make the decision now, without much of your interference, or either it could have been taken as I'm just very confident that you're happy with these people, right?
Maybe more of the first rather than the second. So
why would that speculation be more of the first then?
Because I think TMJ has also said in his Keluar Sekejap podcast that he also get a sense that there are maybe certain ministers who are not performing that well. I'm paraphrasing, he did say something like that. And I think the intention was to send a signal that for maybe some of these people that TMJ or maybe even SOJ thinks that could be performing better, they would have asked for some changes.
Right.
And maybe Anwar wasn't in a position to want to be able to deliver those changes because after all, he's the Prime Minister of a unity government with different parties and factions to consider.
So I'm thinking myself right now, right, as a right guy who actually have literally not much of access at all, right?
But also somebody who's interested.
I'm someone who's actually just interested, and so happened because of my channel I have the opportunity to meet certain people who are veteran politicians like you and some others.
Not so quite a veteran, not that old, but old enough to have
old enough,
also have talked to different people to know a little bit about what's happening.
And I always wonder, right, ever since Sultan of Johor is known to be the next Agong, wouldn't they have kind of communicate before that? Could that have happened?
I am not sure whether that communication took place or not, but I think from a strategic standpoint, it would have been good for maybe not necessarily the Prime Minister directly, but at least, in the interim while waiting for the Sultan of Johor to be sworn in, there could have been briefings by people who are close to Anwar.
Yeah.
Let's say his political secretary, for example, or one of his political secretaries. He has three, to perhaps maybe brief the SOJ or maybe more appropriately TMJ, on some of the...
Kind of like meet someone from a representative and gauge...
Yeah, and to just
right?
exchange idea, open communication channels, which I think is always good. Especially given the fact that we already can anticipate that the Sultan of Johor will be a more activist royal, when he becomes the Agong. So it would have been better actually to... address these things earlier rather than later.
Right. So then the question is whether were these already addressed earlier beforehand?
I suspect
or
not.
Did not, right?
I suspect not. If let's say they have been addressed, then I don't think, if they were addressed, let's say after the TMJ interview with Keluar Sekejap, then I don't think the Sultan of Johor would have said the things that he said in the Straits Times interview, which was about a month later. So that's me reading between the tea leaves and getting a sense of
true.
what...
That's true.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it would have needed clarify things, right?
Yeah. So maybe I think we'll come back to the SOJ later. But to go back to the cabinet reshuffle, let's say from your perspective, as somebody who is interested in politics, interested in how these kinds of changes can have an effect on the financial markets, on your audience who's interested in economics and finance, what was your initial reaction to the changes that happened? Did you think that it was a big shake-up, small shake-up? What were some of the key highlights for you?
For me, it's quite a big shake-up, actually. Because what happened is that, although there's only one person that's being dropped off, right? But there's a lot of reshuffling. Like, people from here move to there, like that. And some of it I don't understand. Some of it I can kind of make a guess. Yeah. But on the other hand, I've a lot of questions. So I'm not going to roll it out all one shot, right? But one by one.
Just let's focus on just the ministers first. As somebody who's trying to put things together or areas to focus on, where else did you look to, for some, positive minuses and pluses, the good, the bad, the ugly,
The good, the bad, the ugly. This is what I think. I think it's good that actually we right now have an MK2. Yeah, because I think he seriously needs an MK2.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's a lot of details that he needs to handle, right? And I think the person he chose is a right move in my opinion because
technocrat, professional.
Yes.
Oil and gas experience, TNB, EPF. Yeah. And I want to add a few more things as to why I think Dato' Amir Hamzah would be a
good move.
Would be a has the potential to be an effective second finance minister, other than the qualities that you talked about just now. He is also well respected in the corporate world.
Yes.
His father was a senior executive, a very important person in Petronas. He's of that lineage. And at the same time, many people may not know this, the policy discussion and also execution and some of the PR part will be, I think, discussed among some important people, including the KSP, the Treasury Secretary General, Dato' Johan. And if you remember, Amir Hamzah was from EPF. So EPF is part and parcel of the post-cap and also a reporting structure to the MOF where KSP is at. So they would have known each other and spoken and engaged with each other on a number of issues. Things like, for example, EPF withdrawals during the COVID period. He was the CEO at that time.
That's right.
He replaced Tunku Ali Zakri. There were subsequent withdrawals where he had to oversee that process and he had to, have a very close working relationship with Dato' Johan. And then at the same time, this one, I think my friend, LSE alumni would fault me for a little bit, but for revealing his name. But Anwar has actually appointed an economic advisor. He's a low-key person. I don't want to mention his name here, but he was the CSO, the Chief Strategy Officer of EPF. And he, of course, now the former CEO of EPF is now the second finance minister. So you can see how the three of them would be able to coordinate those policies, necessary policies from a subsidy rationalization standpoint. They probably have started a WhatsApp group already together.
Wow.
So that's something that I think the public won't know about.
We definitely wouldn't know that.
Yeah, but because I do engage with I've engaged with these three individuals recently, and I've known them for a while, some longer than others. I can see how they can actually be a effective trio lah.
Wow.
Three musketeers, so to speak.
Yeah. And I mean, they are from the field, and like you say, because generally a lot of the finance stuff also has a lot to do with EPF lah, to a certain extent, right?
Not directly, but I think the fact that they have worked together in the ecosystem will give them a comfort level with each other to be able to execute some of the policies that's already been announced, and also to come and think and discuss some of the policy details of some of the other things that they have to manage, whether it's the diesel rationalization, whether it's the fuel subsidy rationalization, whether it is the details of the capital gains tax and things like that. So I think that's a good sign.
So we can say that this one is a positive lah, right?
Oh, definitely positive. 2 thumbs up from me. Yeah.
2 thumbs up. All right, fantastic. Yeah. Now, what about the next position, right?
Talk about ministers first. Don't talk about deputies.
Minister. Okay, yes. The next position, right, that I actually have a question about is